We've talked to many Share Detroit charities and nonprofits over the past year or so, and now Share Detroit is doing its part to help the good people of Ukraine as they battle on their home front against the invasion by Russia. With us now is the Share Detroit co-founder Sam Rozenberg, who's also the founder of Share Ukraine. Sam, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So let's first talk about Share Detroit and its history. You're the co-founder of Share Detroit. Can you tell us about the process of you co-founding that organization and kind of the motivation behind founding Share Detroit?
A friend of mine, Paul Vlasic, invested into the actual platform, the technology behind the Share Good platform. And I got involved about 3 years ago in trying to bring it into Detroit specifically. In order to create a community engagement platform and a system behind it to help Detroit charities or the charities in Detroit metro area that primarily focus on helping Detroit communities do good. Sort of like a dating site for organizations that do good and people who want to help them. We try to match people based on their value system, based on their preferences, passions, and things of that nature, so they can find the organization that closest meets their personalities and their life's preferences.
More information on sharedetroit.org, where you can learn more about the 283 charities and nonprofits supported by Share Detroit at this time. We're joined by co-founder of Share Detroit, Sam Rozenberg, who's also the founder of Share Ukraine as well. So what led to the launch of Share Ukraine? Obviously, it's as a result of the ongoing war in Ukraine, the Russian invasion of the country, and the need that they have over there for support. But why this website? Why now? And how does it help aid those in Ukraine?
Well, I am a Ukrainian Jew. I was, in fact, if I should have worn my T-shirt that says, I may live in America, but I was made in Ukraine. I immigrated to the United States in 1978 when I was 13-year-old, young teenager. America is my home. I served 20 plus years in the U.S. military. When I got out of the military, I tried to do what I can to help the community that I'm a member of, and Share Good came out of that. I saw the writing on the wall, so to speak, since 2014 when Putin took over Crimea, and but honestly saying, never took it too seriously. Obviously, February 24th was a watershed moment for me and for the entire world. For me, probably more personally. So I tried to figure out what I can do immediately to help the cause of justice, the cause of democracy. It just happens to be taking place in Ukraine. And I tried to figure out how I can leverage what I've already done, which is the Share Detroit platform, to do the same thing and bring in all kinds of organizations that are trying to help and kinds of folks that are looking for a way to help. And we created another nonprofit, practically speaking, called Share Ukraine. We created .org. We registered the domain name, linked the two together, and now I'm promoting both Share Ukraine.org and all the organizations that we're linking within that platform. As a result of that, actually a lot of nonprofits that are already on the platform reached out to us and they're asking what they can do. Unfortunately, besides raising funds and collecting goods that can be used in Ukraine for first aid and medical supplies and things of that nature, and help the humanitarian effort with the refugees, there isn't a lot that a lot of our local nonprofits can do now. But the reconstruction will come. Ukraine will defeat the enemy. It just may take a long time, and the reconstruction is going to be very complex, very long, and very expensive. And this is the time that I'm looking forward to actually working with the local nonprofits as well as all the national and international NGOs, and hopefully doing the same thing that we're doing for Detroit Metro, having Ukraine as the focus of help and a focus of nonprofit and social work going forward.
We're joined by Sam Rozenberg, who is the founder of Share Ukraine, the co-founder of Share Detroit, joining us on the Michigan MegaCast. More information on sharedetroit.org, where you can also research under their charities and nonprofits listings for Share Ukraine, or type in shareukraine.org, which will redirect you to the Share Ukraine page on Share Detroit's website. And so on that website, what are some of the resources that people will find on the Share Ukraine website that will be able to lead them to providing aid, providing help to those in Ukraine who are in such great need of it right now as they battle Russia?
The primary, in Detroit metro area, the main organization that collects resources for Ukraine, as well as puts together events, is Ukrainian American Crisis Response Team, and they're prominent, linked in Share Ukraine, and they actually have their own. I think they have their own charity, right? As a separate charity within Share Ukraine. There's also Razom, R-A-Z-O-M, for Ukraine, all one word, .org, which is a national nonprofit that also got started up, I believe, in 2014. That collects, it's a national organization Razom stands for Together in Ukrainian. And it brings resources to help Ukraine both through education, humanitarian aid, political action, and so on and so on. Those are the two organizations that we feature prominently. There are others on the platform. There's also, if some people that really don't have a lot of energy or time or understanding of the situation, and they just want to simply donate and help, I collect money and I provide accountability for 100% of the dollars that Share Ukraine collects directly through Share Detroit. It's a nonprofit 501c3. And every week I select an NGO on the ground in Ukraine that we donate the money collected for that period to. The portal actually provides that information. Last week we collected a little over $12,000, and it's going to go to ComeBackAlive.ua, which is the organization that provides humanitarian aid and as well as the field first aid for the combatants in the zone. The next one is going to be helpukraine.org. These organizations are nominated and vetted by the people on the ground in Ukraine. I have friends and relatives still in the area, and we communicate with them daily. I'm trying to do everything we possibly can between our communities to help.
So, as you mentioned, Sam, you are Ukrainian. You have friends and relatives in Ukraine who are still there at this moment in time as they fight off this Russian invasion. It's been ongoing for several weeks now at this point. And so how does that help to inform your communications with them? How does that help to inform your actions as the founder of Share Ukraine and the person that's, as you said, responsible for where each of these dollars ultimately are going to these NGOs and to these other organizations that are providing aid? How does that communication with those who are on the front lines in Ukraine help to inform you of where those dollars are going to go week to week, month to month as you're running this organization?
Both organizations so far, like I said, a week ago, we started, a little over 10 days ago, we started collecting the money. And my primarily means of communicating the need is through, I started a personal newsletter, I guess, if you want to call it, or a rant. I started it with just my Outlook distribution list of about 1,500 people. And that in itself brought $12,000. And I'm going to continue doing this weekly with a different theme. And those themes that I'm communicating, and they're somewhat reflected with press releases and the contents on the shareukraine.org, are much influenced by the people on the ground. So what's important to them? How do they see the Western support so far? In terms of specifically trying to measure the value of those organizations, the organizational websites which are receiving the funds, they're actually posted, and you can go and check them out. Their accountability is really very well detailed. There's spreadsheets right on the website, tells exactly what kind of items that were acquired for how much. And I checked the information yesterday, and it was as current as the 9th of March, which for real-time reporting is about as good as it gets. I haven't seen almost any other organization that provides reporting within 4 or 5 days of the actual activity. And plus, frankly saying, my friend, who is a retired general in the Ukrainian army, now is coordinating activities of the territorial defense forces. He's got a whole network of people on the ground that are doing the work. So my ask of them is really simple. Go ask the guy who's putting a bandage on somebody's arm what organization he's working for, and then we look to see if this is a legitimate NGO, if it's got some kind of a tax standing within the Ukrainian or European community, and that's about the extent of vetting. We'll look at their financials, we'll look at their past reporting, and I just ask the people on the ground, are they helping? And they're helping, they get the funds. There are other ways of helping, and I'm not discouraging anyone, but if you want it quick and simple and you just want to help this a way, many organizations do well.
Yeah, or if you just want a resource to go to find trusted help that is going to be on the front lines in Ukraine, or is going to be helping those in Ukraine without having to do that research necessarily yourself, and maybe run into some of these people that have been taking advantage of the crisis that's occurring over there in Eastern Europe. We just spoke recently with Melanie Ducanel from the Michigan Better Business Bureau about some of these charity scams that are popping up, that always pop up when there's something that when there's an issue domestically or certainly internationally that people want to help others with. And so having a resource like this, shareukraine.org, where you can learn more information about these organizations that have already been vetted, that are helping people directly on the front lines, that those on the front lines have reported to your organization as being those that are helping, and then you do research on them. It's so much helpful information for people here in the U.S., here in Michigan, who want to help those in Ukraine. We're joined by Sam Rozenberg. He is the founder of Share Ukraine, the co-founder of Share Detroit. You can learn more information on shareukraine.org or sharedetroit.org, and just search Share Ukraine under their 283 charities and nonprofits that they are currently supporting. There are also some events also listed on that website that you can participate in that will also be benefiting those in Ukraine. And so, Sam, as you continue to talk to those friends and family of yours who are in Ukraine and their interpretation of the quality of response from their friends and neighbors here in the West, what is the greatest need that they have at this moment in time in terms of support that they need from those that are willing to give it here in the U.S. and here in Michigan?
I mean, the most common thing that they're asking for, honestly saying, is something that we're not willing to do, which is provide a no-fly zone above Ukraine. This is something that we're not willing to do, and I'm not trying to make any political statements, but they certainly appreciate all the humanitarian aid and all the work that we have done. I mean, there's flights and flights and flights of medical equipment and first aid equipment and medicine and so on and so on and so on. And certainly the humanitarian work that people in Poland and Romania and Moldova and all the surrounding countries are doing is not just greatly appreciated. Everyone is amazed in Ukraine. So it's a fine balancing act between being grateful and asking for more. But when it's a David and Goliath thing, they got to do what they got to do. And one thing I wanted to add is that the long-term plan for shareukraine.org, because the people that are supporting us, ethnic Eastern European folks, we're very skeptical of large nonprofits and so on and so on. So one of the things we will try to do, and we're already getting the resources to do it, is provide family to family, a person to person type of a matching relationship to where a family can adopt a family in Ukraine to help them with the reconstruction. I have not countless, but many friends in Ukraine whose life just was destroyed. Their apartments, their living quarters, everything that they've built up and were hoping to save for their children disappeared. So there's going to be a tremendous amount of opportunity to help these folks one-on-one, family to family, without any kind of intermediaries, with administrative and marketing costs and all this other stuff. And really, that's what I want to do. I want to provide the most efficient mechanism where people can help and see the results of their help.
We're joined by Sam Rozenberg, the founder of Share Ukraine, the co-founder of Share Detroit. More information either on sharedetroit.org or go directly to their Share Ukraine page at shareukraine.org to learn more information about different organizations that you can provide donations to, about volunteer opportunities here in the local area, and events that will be benefiting those in Ukraine as they fight the Russians who have been invading their country for many weeks now. Sam, just another couple of minutes before we'll need to say goodbye. Anything else at this time that would be important for our audience to know about Share Ukraine or ways that they can help?
Important not, but I can make a plea. We living in the West have very short memories when it comes to these type of conflicts, unfortunately. I personally believe this is 1936 all over again. And if we thought about it, what could we have done in 1936 if we knew what's going to happen? Certainly, it's not just a theatrical statement. We don't know what's going to happen, but it certainly looks, feels, and feels similarly to that. I hope that this is not another World War II, i.e. World War III. I hope we won't have another Holocaust, but it's certainly looking as we would. It just happens to be not for Jews, but for Ukrainians. It doesn't matter who the people are. People are people, and we should have value all life equally. I just ask that we never forget what's happening today. So if you have a chance, influence your local officials, try to change some street names, park names to reflect the city names that are probably no longer in existence today, whether it's Kharkiv, whether it's Kherson or Sochi or whatever that may be I apologize about Sochi. Sochi is in Russia. But this way our kids, when they look at this funny park named Kherson, and they're going to say, Mom, what the heck is Kherson? And you can explain to your kids there was a war, the city was destroyed, occupied by the Russians, and this will live in our memories, not because we want to remember the negative things, it's because we don't want these things to repeat. We could have put an end to it in 2014. Now we live with the consequences. That's what I wanted to appeal to people with.
Sam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for your listeners. To your listeners.
Appreciate having you on.